I don't believe that President Trump cares about democracy in Venezuela. I see no evidence anywhere else in the world that he cares about democracy. He most certainly doesn't care about it in Russia or Belarus, China. I just don't see the evidence for it. So if the going gets tough, and you gotta gut it out to help the Democrats take power, maybe it won't be that way. Maybe it'll be like Panama. But if it does, I worry he will just pull out in a heartbeat, and that could lead to a worse outcome.
They won decisively in July of 2024, probably capturing about 70% of the vote. The vote was rigged. Chavez's successor, Nicolás Maduro, has refused to leave. And now we've got this armada off the coast of Venezuela trying to strangle his regime into some kind of submission. On the one hand, you can look at this and say, you want us to stand up for values of freedom. There was a democratic election. We're trying to force out the authoritarian regime. And the goal, Trump won't admit it, but I think Rubio would in private be very explicit about this, is regime change. On the other hand, all I have to say is Iraq to present the other side of the story. And I think you also have another observation that we've been in conversation about the precedent that this could have in terms of justifications China could draw for possible military action against Taiwan. So why don't you opine a bit about where we're at now in terms of the military standoff off the coast of Venezuela and the competing values that it evokes?
Yeah, that's a very hard question. And Larry, I want to hear more of your answer too, because you've been following this very closely. And let me just say a couple of things so people understand where I come from. Maduro has to go. He was not elected in a free and fair election. And that's my personal view. He's an illegitimate leader there. President Gonzalez should be instated. I agree with that. The question is, and let's just go back historically. I do think the international community and the free world missed a great opportunity when that election happened, and it was documented, as you know well, Larry, in a way that it's extremely hard to do. I think this is probably the most well-documented falsified election in the world that I know of. Yeah. And I've studied a lot of them, by the way. I've written about them. It was just clear as day. It was stolen. That was the moment for us to use ultimate pressure, the Biden administration and the entire free world. And I think we missed an opportunity there. But that's for the historians to decide. My view is we should use all instruments available to put as much pressure on the Maduro regime to bring about a peaceful transition to democracy short of military invasion.
Hi, I'm Pat Morrison, one of the hosts of America at a Crossroads. If you like this video, don't just watch. Head over to our website where you can subscribe for early access to new programs, see our upcoming schedules, and connect directly with our guests in our weekly live streams. Thank you for watching.
And when I look at the, having studied other cases, having participated in these debates about Syria and about Libya when I worked at the White House, we have not exhausted all available instruments. So I won't go through them all, but just one, there's all kinds of other economic sanctions that we could do. I do not believe we should be seizing Venezuelan oil for ourselves. That seems absurd to me. But the Iran sanctions is a really useful alternative that should be studied, where that was set up in a way. And there's this great book by Eddie Fishman called Choke Points. In the spirit of advertising other books, just read it. It's the best book ever written about sanctions that I've read. And he explains it, where the Iranian oil was left to go out, but the money didn't go back to Iran. They went into third accounts that would only be released after they signed the Iran nuclear deal. And then everybody politicized it and said Obama's handing money to the mullahs. But no, that wasn't the case. That was Iranian money. This seems to me to be super easy to do, especially when you have those ships there. And then that money just accumulates and it puts pressure and helps the opposition to say it gets released when they take over. Another idea that is not, unless it's happening behind closed doors. But Larry, as you know better than I, there are all kinds of scenarios where through quiet negotiation with the military, with the intelligence services, there's a way to push autocrats out and to let them go. And it's not pretty, but I participated in this in Egypt in 2011. And, when there were massive demonstrations saying Mubarak must go, there was a strategy to push him aside. Now, that didn't end well. We know that, right? We made mistakes after that. But that, I think, is another scenario where you split the Anshan regime. You split the old order and you say, flip over and we're going to give you amnesty. We're going to keep paying you, but you can no longer be loyal to Maduro and get him to leave. Belarus is a place where these guys go all the time, by the way. Bakiyev's there from Kyrgyzstan. Lukashenko's already said he'd be welcome there. That's another piece that we could do. Why? But to your point, and then I want to hear your answer too, if we have time. Why I'm nervous about invasion. And I want to also say before saying that, Venezuela also has some advantages over places like Iraq or Libya. They've had democracy before. That's a big plus. Pretty unified, in terms of there's not ethnic cleavages or religious cleavages. That's another big advantage we know about from studying in comparative transitions. I think there could be this windfall of money that could come through investment and releasing the oil sector there. Those are all the pluses. But the minuses of using military power are, I think, very high. And if I was a Venezuelan, I'd be pushing for it. I get it. We have friends that if I were them, I would have exactly their position. But I'm an American. And so I worry about other interests we have. Number one, I worry about American casualties. This idea that it's going to be a cakewalk, I'm sorry, folks, we've heard this before, including, Larry, you're the expert on Iraq, but I remember how easy that was going to be. It wasn't easy. I was part of when we went into Libya. Now everybody talks about, this was inevitable that this state was weak and these ethnic cleavages. Go back and read what people said in the beginning of that. That's not what they were saying in the beginning of it. And I worry that people will die. But the thing I worry most about, I don't believe that President Trump cares about democracy in Venezuela. I see no evidence anywhere else in the world that he cares about democracy. He most certainly doesn't care about it in Russia or Belarus, China. I just don't see the evidence for it. So if the going gets tough and you gotta gut it out to help the Democrats take power, maybe it won't be that way. Maybe it'll be like Panama. But if it does, I worry he will just pull out in a heartbeat, and that could lead to a worse outcome.
We do have to close now. We encourage you to continue to engage America at a crossroads and to support it if you can, to rejoin us 3 weeks from tonight when Leah Littman will talk about her book in conversation with Madeline Brand, and you can see the different superb sessions that will follow at the beginning of next year. I do want to thank the great team that produces this. Most of all, our beloved leader and friend, Janice Kamener-Resnick, and also Mel Levine, Zev Yaroslavsky, who couldn't be with us tonight. I want to thank everyone for being such a loyal participant in this series. I wish you all a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a safe and happy New Year. Thank you all so much.